Why are we not all talking about the fact that women are making bodies in their bodies? It should be on the nightly news. There should be a mother hero baddie of the hour. Y'all, when I was pregnant, it was really tough for me to quiet the external noise. I remember one time when I was pregnant with Athena, it was when gyms reopened after COVID, and I was feeling so good. I was like, girl, like, you are going to ride this energy wave today. Because, during pregnancy, you wake up, you might feel like trash. You might feel like a goddess. You just don't know how it's going to flow. But this day, I felt really good. And I was going to get into my back squat. And I was loading it super intentionally. And this guy came up to me and he said, "Are you sure you should be doing that?" And I was like, you know how I turned into? Like, in a cartoon when the eyes turn green and they become lasers? Like, that man's lucky he has limbs. So I just gently told him that I trusted my body. And this kind of just poured out of me. And then as I was saying it, I was like, oh, I actually do trust myself. I actually do know my body. I actually am trained in pre and postnatal as a trainer. And I kind of, it almost like the universe was sending me this interruption. So it could then be a catalyst for knowing what I deeply know. And that exchange became the impetus for me creating a prenatal strength training program and having rides specific for pregnant athletes. And yeah, I said pregnant athletes. You are an athlete who is pregnant. I mean that with my whole chest. And before I was even pregnant is when I got my prenatal certification, because I just really wanted to educate myself around these concepts. And thank goodness I did, because there wasn't as much then as there is now on social showing pregnant athletes doing their thing. And it felt very vulnerable to be, 9 months pregnant, still teaching strength classes, still teaching cycling classes, still teaching tread classes. And I knew that I was never going to push myself too far, because I decided at the beginning of that pregnancy, and then again with Atlas, even more so with Atlas, that I was going to move from a place of agency and capability, not ego. And it was like, you have nothing to prove to anybody. Your only job is to keep this baby safe and feel as at home in your skin as you possibly can during the absolute alien adventure of pregnancy, and do it on a really public scale. From the Vox Media Podcast Network, I'm Robin Hudson. And today, what I wish I were told when I was pregnant and postpartum, what actually matters, what doesn't, and how to stay anchored. So let's talk about a hill that I will die on. Pregnant athletes are not fragile. You are making a whole human. You adapt, but you're not breaking. I was a geriatric pregnancy, and I was also a T1D pregnancy. What I wish I would have known before I was pregnant was that this fear-based model, with, I think, good medical intentions, is still rooted in fear. It still paralyzes you. So there were a lot of variables that I was taking super seriously, of course. Like, I was keeping my blood sugar in really, really tight control. And I actually learned a lot, from being pregnant that has translated into now not being pregnant. So I'm very grateful, for that experience. But I went into it just not knowing, feeling so afraid, totally unsure. And I even had an endocrinologist tell me that I was likely not going to be able to continue my workload and my physical activity as a T1D pregnancy because she had just never seen it done before at that level. And that, my friends, was a spark that I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to research. I'm going to get every data point, and I am going to do what I can with what I have. And ultimately, that led me to 2 healthy pregnancies and training all 9 months. And again, this is my experience. This is not for anybody to listen to this episode and compare and say, oh, I didn't feel great today, or I haven't worked out at all. It's like, this is a judgment-free zone. I am just giving you an example of one way to approach it. The American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology has really helpful guidelines for pregnant athletes. And generally speaking, just like the general population, we want to be getting 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity a week. You're going to be mindful that you are staying super hydrated, that you're not overheating. The hot yoga and stuff is not the name of the game when you're pregnant. And after you have a visible belly, you're not doing crunches. The best core work that you can do pregnant once you have a visible belly is actually deep breathing. You can elevate your hands for things like planks. And again, for all of this stuff, I have classes at Peloton. I have an entire prenatal and postnatal class section where I go into all of this in super, super detail. But the big message that I want to send to folks is that you can work plenty hard when you're pregnant. And of course, always listen to your doctor. Like, I am not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice, but I do know from experience, and I know from witnessing a lot of feedback from the community that they were grateful that they had classes that respected them as athletes who are also pregnant. That's a story shift than what our mothers and grandmothers had. And it really helped me. That reframing really, really helped me. So I encourage you to find what works for you. And remember that movement is a tool. It's a tool. It's not something to fear. And training can continue with intention and awareness. And, when you need to lean on the experts, you lean on the experts. But otherwise, turn down the noise and know that I took confidence in the fact that my body was made to do this. And I actually approached it with a similar gusto as training for a marathon. Like, I was like, my finish line is a safe, healthy baby in my arms, and I need to get physically and mentally ready for that. And I really did apply the 10-minute a day rule, where the days that I wasn't feeling it, the days that it was just like, oh my God, I can barely get off the couch. Like, what? Can't even tie my shoes anymore. Like, you want me to do a workout? It would start with like a 10-minute walk. Or it would start with 10 minutes of breath work. It would start with 10 minutes of body weight squats. And I was just like, let me see how it feels. Because sometimes the movements that you planned on doing, you're like, that's not working today. You just got to pivot, 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 pivot. So the art of the pivot I really learned as a pregnant athlete. Your intuition is a tool. It's not something to ignore. And I've heard countless times about really intense situations, and I'll share one for you. My intuition as a mom, I would play for Athena on these little baby speakers that I would put on my stomach. Beyonce, Love on Top. It was like this. It was the song that she would dance to, wiggle, in the womb the most. And this one morning, it was 9 a.m. It was a Saturday morning. Drew and I were going to go to brunch. And I was like, gosh, I really haven't felt the baby. And this was, how many weeks was I? 37 weeks. It was 37 weeks that morning. And my alarm bells just were like going off. And I wasn't really an anxious pregnant person. I wasn't, Googling every single symptom. I really tried not to do that and just listen to my own body and then the advice of doctors, of course, as needed. But that morning I was like, no, we got to check this out. So we called the hospital. They said, yeah, just come in. We'll do a little scan just to reassure you. Like, we thought we were literally going to be at brunch, like first in line at 10 a.m., kind of thing. And the doctor, checks my belly and looks at Drew and looks at me and he said, today seems like a good day to have a baby. And we were like, what? And they're like, yeah, she's not, or we didn't know the sex actually. They were like, the baby is not reacting super well. It's a little inconsistent, the heart rate and stuff. So we think, at full term, exactly 37 weeks, like today's the day. And I was just like, what? And so super unexpected C-section. I had this complete vision of having a natural birth and being this like warrior woman. And I had to process that after, by the way, of like really grieving that and knowing that like my only job was to bring a healthy baby into the world. And I sure did that. And there's so much of pregnancy and motherhood that you can't plan for, that you can only focus on what you can control. And I think something that we can control is whether we listen to our intuition. And that's, in my experience, was literally life-saving to my baby. Your call to action this week. So these are questions that I want you to ask yourself. Maybe you journal about it. Maybe you think about it on a walk, getting some steps in. I don't want self-care to become this thing that you're like, great, now I have more on the to-do list to make me feel like I didn't achieve it. That's not the point. It's just some reflection. Where are you over-researching right now? I know. Let go of one thing. Let go of one thing. What would it look like to trust yourself more this week? And what does staying connected to your body look like for you right now? And that one, I think, is kind of that might be the most intense one, because you wake up and you don't even know if your pants are going to fit. You don't even know if, are we rolling out of bed today? Can I tie my shoes today? Like, it's such a roller coaster that anchoring in something. Is it breath work? Is it your Peloton workout? Is it getting steps? Is it, putting on your favorite music and having a dance party? Like, you have to, I think, establish some type of ritual that brings you back to yourself, because there's so much that's foreign and unpredictable about literally growing somebody inside your body. Like, if we didn't know what childbirth was and somebody just said, yeah, so like in 9 months, like you grow an eyeball and a chin and a nose, like, what are you talking about? That's the most heroic, crazy shit in the world. Like, why are we not all talking about the fact that women are making bodies in their bodies? It should be on the nightly news. There should be a nightly news, like, mother, hero, baddie of the hour. I don't want any more CNN, ABC news tickers. I just want to see headlines of amazing, heroic, goddess women doing epic shit. And part of that includes making a literal human in your body and then bringing that body into the world. What? It's crazy. So, shout out to you, mama. When I think of athletes I most admire, of course I think of Serena Williams and Sue Bird. And I think of Meg Jacoby. Meg is a HYROX world champion. She's actually the first woman to get sub 60. And if you know, that is a major, major, major accomplishment in the HYROX world. She is truly someone who goes hard in the paint and commits and exhibits this both and, being a mother and a champion. She quit her full-time job to become a professional athlete at 31, y'all. She's a single mother. After going pro, she suffered significant back surgery, and she recently had another medical setback. She is somebody who gets through hard shit unapologetically. This is the kind of model of motherhood that I want to see more of and celebrate. Here's my convo with Meg. Meg, welcome. I think we have to issue like a boom, 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 like baddie alert. I love you.
Well, thank you.
So Meg, you quit your corporate job to become a pro athlete at 31. Take me into the moment that you made that decision and what motivated you to make that leap?
So my first world championship, I was coming in. I had just broke the world record again and was the first woman to go sub 60. So after that, 4 weeks later is the world championship. So I kind of came in maybe with being the favorite. I came in second, and my goal was really to win that. And what I realized after, with talking with some friends there, was like, if I'm going to really do this and really get the most out of it, I have to be able to do this full time. Trying to train 18 hours a week as a single parent, working 40 hours a week. It was becoming unsustainable. So I knew I had to make a change. And basically what I did was that entire next 5 months, I started really building up my coaching community online, started to kind of just cold message different brands that were already getting involved with HYROX just to see if there were opportunities, just putting myself out there. And by November, so this was like 5-6 months later, I was ready to take the leap. And now this is my career,
Hell yeah.
3.5 years later.
It's well-deserved.
Thank you.
Clearly are just in it. So your appetite for excellence is evident. What happens when your confidence is thrown off? Like, what do you tell yourself in that moment?
Don't let up.
Don't let
Don't
up.
let up. And here's why. This is a very high intensity race, and it's very easy to, even naturally sometimes without people realizing, take the foot off the gas a little bit.
I was just thinking that,
You
taking your
know,
foot off the gas.
you come out of the burpee broad jumps into the next run and you're really uncomfortable. And it's very easy to be like, okay, I'm just going to slow down a little bit for a little while, kind of regroup, and then I'll pick it up. We never do, you don't do that, you know, because it hurts. So I repeat that to myself, like every run. It's meant to be uncomfortable. I can do hard things. I'm great at being uncomfortable. That's what I train for. So it's reminding myself, you know, my body when it's like halfway through and saying like, oh my God, we're doing this again, you know, fight or flight mode starting to come in. Don't let up, don't let off the gas. Keep pushing. That's another one I say, keep pushing. And keeping them somewhat positive and firm, but positive with myself. I used to be really tough, like, let's go, you know, maybe cursing at myself. And that would maybe not be the best. So
I totally get it. I call that dirty fuel.
Yes.
Like it's fuel, but it's not necessarily fuel for a long game.
Exactly. It's good for like a quick, you know, but not probably going to get me to wall balls from burpees. So,
oh my gosh, I can so relate.
Yeah.
So you are a mama. You are, and I love that you build parallels and you're really honest about your single parent journey. And you're like,
yep.
I've been through worse. Like I can handle, a tough HYROX race. My life stuff has been even harder. How do you talk to your daughter about strength and body image? And I know she's in dance and she's an athlete in her own right, and, in her own way. How do you talk to her about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, this is, especially as a woman coming from pure endurance. I've started running when I was 12. That world can be very toxic. It's very, very common in the running world. And especially when I was coming up and I had so many teammates struggling with a lot of eating disorders and issues, and always because of that, many, many injuries, and really watching them suffer for, 3-4 years of my Division I collegiate experience. I had teammates that never even really got to compete at all because of what they struggled with. So this is very important, the way I speak about myself, especially to my daughter, how I approach work ethic, how I approach fueling. We always talk about food as fuel. And if I don't fuel, then I don't get to perform at the level that I want to be at, and how important that is. She also sees how much I'm eating on a daily basis and what it is. Really nutritious whole foods, a lot of carbs, a lot of protein, a lot of things that women traditionally and historically are afraid to eat. I'm eating. And when I want a cookie or an ice cream, I also eat that. I do not restrict myself, and I'm very careful on how I speak about that as well. Of course, if I have a competition coming up, I'll say, hey, it's really important that I'm eating really healthy right now because I have a big competition and I don't want to eat a lot of processed food and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And she gets that. And she gets that. And she understands like everything in moderation. There is no such thing as bad food. It's just how often you're eating it. There is nothing that's off limits entirely. It's obviously just maybe don't eat pizza every single day, twice a day, things like that. But that's really important. And also the importance of teaching her how you need to fuel, especially to be strong and muscular. And that's super important for my sport as well. And so I love that she's had the opportunity. And also because I was a single mom, she's been in the gym with me since she was 1-2 years old. Because I had no other option. So I had to find gyms that were okay with me bringing a child with me. And so she's been in that world and around that for so long. Like she's so used to seeing strong women. So being around the HYROX women, not just me, has been really important. How I talk about that, oh my God, look at what so-and-so did this weekend, and uplifting them also. Even my competitors, I think that's also really, it's great to speak in a competitive nature because you want to be the best you can possibly be. But it's also really important to speak positively about the people you compete with to teach your children how to have that healthy balance. So it's not just the eating and the physical health, it's also the mental side of we're not in competition all the time with each other. Yes, I race against these people, but their success does not inhibit my success.
Yep.
And when I see her with her teammates and how she wants to show up for them in dance when they have their solos, and even if we don't have to be there for 5 hours, we're going at 8 a.m. to watch all of the team, you know.
Yep.
And she's asking to do that. It's not me saying, hey, let's go support them. It's her desire to. And I think a lot of that comes from, hopefully, some of these lessons that I've had a great opportunity to be able to teach her through my own sporting career.
Oh, I love so much of what you just said. You're breathing so much life into an ecosystem of strength, and obviously by modeling it by who you are and what you do, but it's also these little micro moments that oftentimes I find that I'm learning that kids aren't really learning by what you say. They're observing the thousands of tiny things that you do.
Yes.
So hell yeah, lots of proud mama moments there. I freaking love that. So I saw a post that you had the other day when you were like, when motivation is low, you had this cascade of things like put on the Fierce Fit, put on the baddie 2000s music.
Yep.
So can you walk me through some of that? Like, what is the jam? What is the outfit? I love that you are like lashes on, face on. And I really related to that and how you show up to race and to compete and to train. And so walk me through a little bit of that. Like, what are the things that make you feel like the bad bitch alert has to be on?
For sure. I have my whole life, I was the girl on the bus on the way to the track meet fixing my makeup when I'm 18, 17. Like, this has been I've been the glam girl forever. But I've adopted that because I think early on it was like, hey, you know what? If I look good, I feel good. And if I feel good, I usually perform well. And so that's just a saying that I've carried with me throughout, all of my life. So kind of just like in a funny way, it became like my thing was like, I'm going to show up and be exactly who I am in every way, not just like the fierce competitor, but also the feminine, girly girl, loving getting my hair and my nails and my eyelashes done, and bring those two worlds together that you can be both.
You can be both.
But motivation is fleeting. And it's one of the biggest things that I try to share with my audience when I'm not motivated all the time. I don't think anybody is. So sometimes you have to find those little things that help you get excited to go do a session or go to the gym when it's the last possible thing you want to do. And so if it's putting on that cute matching set and getting, bringing you back to your college days with the music or whatever vibe gets you in the mood. For me, it's like grabbing a nice latte, putting on some Hood Rat 2000s hip hop, and getting it done,
Lil Wayne has resurrected me from the dead.
It's so funny because when you were going to ask the song, I was just thinking I had a little Lil Wayne radio on today on Spotify in my session. So it was like Fireman and so many old throwbacks that I have not even thought of in years.
You used to say, this is the last question, I train because I want to be hard to kill.
That's a quote that is, I have not said that in a long time.
But what's the goal now? Like, what's the evolved, or maybe that's still the goal, but like, how do you approach the goal now? Like, what's the sentence?
The goal. But what I love is that if somebody asks me, hey, let's go run a 10K, I can do that. If somebody asks me, hey, I want to sign up for this CrossFit comp, will you be my partner? I can also do that. If someone says, hey, you want to go cycle 20, whatever today, yes, I can do that. So I just love that I'm a well-rounded person and athlete and that I can do anything. I'm not limited. And so if the next journey is some other cool opportunity, then I'll be well set up to do that. I love testing myself in all new ways and being well-rounded. I think that's a huge part of my whole MO is like, I want to jump, I want to sprint, I want to run fast, I want to do everything and be pretty good at a lot of things.
Hell yes. Yeah. Thank you for building up women, being an example of we can always add jewels to the crown. We're not freaking done yet. I am in your corner.
Thank you so much.
I know that you are not done yet, my girl.
No way.
I think that you You build people up as much as you're willing to put in the work for yourself and others behind the scenes, and we see you. We see you.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Meg really inspired me, the way she's so thoughtful around body image and her daughter. And it made me think, how am I approaching this with my daughter? What do? I try not to speak negatively at all about my body or even my capabilities, frankly. Like, I found myself the other day, Drew and I were joking, like, he's the math guy. I am not. And I started to say, I'm terrible at math. And I was like, oh my God, I can't utter that in front of my daughter. And I had that moment where I was like, I'm not the best at math yet. Like, I still had a yet. Like, who knows? At 70, I might all just be like, long division. Bring her in. I want to do more of this. Who knows? But specifically about the body image piece, we all have days where we feel less than, but I'm not giving that the microphone, and certainly not in front of my kid. Letting her see me prioritize my health and my goals. She's seen me cross finish lines. She's seen me train for them. And actually, we instituted a win of the day book at dinner. So every single night, we will write in a journal at the kitchen table, what is your win for the day? And Athena, Atlas, myself, and Drew all write in the book our win for the day. And sometimes the win is actually like, I achieved this, I had a really hard workout, or I got this business meeting, or I signed this contract. But the better wins that I'm trying to emphasize for them are to show that they have value in the effort. They have value in how they tried. And whether it's Atlas, naming for him that he stayed in his crib the whole night, or naming for Athena that she tried a new sport, or that she was kind to a friend. Like, these are things that I think hopefully take the pen back for them to realize that they're the ones describing and showcasing their own value. It's not always on the receiving end of an accolade or an award. So that wins journal has been really nice. And letting her see me take up space physically and emotionally. And the other day she was like, oh, Mama, you always wear makeup. And so now I'm really trying to couch makeup as like not only part of mommy's job, but I see it as play and expression and creativity for a grown-up. And making sure that when she notes if I'm not wearing makeup, that I feel just as much in my own skin, whether I'm wearing a ball gown or whether I'm wearing, the same pajamas for 3 days in a row. And that those external things are tools in our toolkit that we can learn how to use in certain stages of life. I'll throw it to you. Catch one negative self-talk pattern this week and change it out loud in front of your kid. I know, it's a biggie. I think you can do it.
Hey, y'all. So if I had to think about my mom's superpower, I think it would be that when I am with my daughter, I'm with her, and when I'm not, I'm not. When I'm not, I'm demonstrating to her who she gets to be. And my road that I travel cannot be paved in regret if I want her to traverse that as a roadmap, like it's presence over quantity.
I am saying no to the idea that exhaustion is the badge of honor for motherhood. I used to think being a great mom meant constantly running on empty and proving how much I could carry. But I've realized that burnout doesn't make us better parents. It just makes us depleted humans.
As moms, I think many of us were taught to just keep pushing through, to survive everything quietly. But I've started to define strength a little differently. For me now, strength looks like honesty, boundaries, and letting my kids see me evolve in real time.